Certainly, extend happiest thanks to all of you for joining today's webinar, which is being organized on the occasion of Road Safety Week 2022. This webinar is being jointly organized by the Safety and Quality Forum along with the Delhi State Centre and in association with this Tiruchirapalli Local Centre and Alwar Local Centre. Chairman Alwar Local Centre and Tiruchirapalli Centre are also joined today. Today, that Honorable Shri S.K. Nirmal, Secretary General of Indian Road Congress and former DG Ministry of Road Transport and Highway, has kindly consented to be the chief guest of today's function and is also joined us today. One of the eminent personality, a vast experience in the field of this road safety, present here and is presently holding the appointment of the Chief General Manager Legal, CMD and Road Safety Audit at NHAI, Shri Rajiv Lochanji. Shri Lochan will deliver keynote address on the theme of this event. I am also pleased to introduce other distinguished dignitaries who will be delivering the address today. Shri Dinesh Kumarji is chairman of the Safety and Quality Forum. Dr. S.K. Advisor, Road Safety in National Highway Authority of India. Shri R.N. Rajput, immediate past chairman, Safety and Quality Forum. And most important, Dr. S.K. Singh is chairman, Delhi State Centre, and also currently holding the position of Vice Chancellor, Rajasthan Technical University. I welcome all the dignitaries on the board. Before starting address from the dignitaries, I request all the participants to keep their laptop, mobile phone on mute mode, and also to keep their video off, so that connectivity will be better. I request Shri Dinesh Kumar, Chairman, Safety and Quality Forum, to deliver his welcome address, please.
I welcome you all here because our colleague Shri S.K. Singh is on the way and he to take the flight. I request Dr. S.K. Singh, the BC Rajasthan University, to welcome first. I will take later on because he is on the way to airport. Dr. S.K. Singh, please address the gathering and welcome all participants first. कहाँ चलेगा? Dr. S.K. Singh. Dr. S.K. Singh, I think disconnect हो गया. नहीं है ना?
सर नहीं, आप स्टार्ट करिए सर, फिर मैंने सर.
तो फिर मैं ही करता हूँ उनका.
सब आप वेलकम करिए सर, वैसे भी चेयर
मैं करता हूँ. Okay, sir. Good evening and happy New Year to all. First of all, I welcome you all here and on this eve of the Road Safety Week as announced by Government of India Ministry of Transport. And first of all, I welcome Chief Guest Shri S.K. Nirmal ji, who is presently Secretary General Indian Road Congress, that is the authority of deciding the speed on the road, and our keynote speaker Shri Rajiv Lochanji, who is the executive authority highest in that road safety national highway NHAI. Both are the dignitaries and well-known personality in the road, and I am very much delighted to inform all of you that both of us has agreed on my first visit to their office or on first telephonic talk, and they agreed immediately to address us and to enhance our knowledge. So today we have assembled to get the knowledge and from them and to learn how we can contribute for this road safety, because both the persons are from the highway construction, but the topic for today is how the road users can be saved. Save yourself and save your family. This is the theme. So this is the, I think since last so many years I am seeing that theme for the road user is for the first time, at least in my knowledge. Otherwise, always theme is only for improvement of the road, for improvement traffic management, this thing. But hardly any time for the road user. This is actually the how the road user can be educated, can be motivated to use our facilities available on the roads and the highways. Particularly in Delhi, I can see that foot overbridge is there. People do not use. And even on expressway, you can see a lot of people trying to cross the highway by running, which is highly dangerous. So, with these words, I'm not taking much time of yours because everywhere, everyone in the Institute of Engineering is engineer, and somehow they are connected with roads and road user, transport and traffic. Because as far as road safety is concerned, there is a main two factor. One is the vehicle, which is a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, and the road, the asset, the civil engineering are this one. And users are everybody, that is human being. That we have to see that road safety means the safety for all. This should be the motto. With these words, I ask the organizer, Praveen Singh ji, to join, and thank you all for joining here today, and welcome again. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Mr. S.K. Pople, Advisor NHAI, to apprise about the significance of today's function. Pople ji.
Good evening, friends. As Chairman sir told about the Road Safety Week, the National Road Safety Week was first celebrated about 30 years back in 1989 for the first time. And generally it is being celebrated. Earlier it was in the first week of January, but because of school holidays and bitter cold in the northern India, so it has been now shifted to second week of the January, and it is a big safety awareness program which is being organized every year by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. And the main intentions of this Road Safety Week is to spread awareness among the road users, among the drivers, among the engineers, and regarding the accidents and road fatalities which are happening, and which is a great concern for the authorities and government, and everybody is there. See, during the National Road Safety Week, various organizations, rather all the stakeholders, NGOs, NHAI, NHIDCL, PWD, CPWD, Ministry of Road Transport, different and all the contractors of NHAI, concessionaires, even the safety consultants, they organize various workshops and distribute the pamphlets and aware the public about the safe road user behavior. Where even the engineers are being made conscious, means even now at this moment, the capacity development, the NHAI safe engineers are going through the road safety training, and today they are doing this on-site training for this road safety audit, where I am part of that to have this training, and I have taken this break for half an hour so that I can be part of this first celebration which SQF is taking. So the best is the method is to communicate even with the school children. It is on the toll plazas, it is on the major intersections, like that. This safety awareness is being done. So this year is to propagate the cause of the safer road user, as Chairman sir has already told, and this is being observed from 11th January to 17th January this year. During this week, various safety activities are being organized throughout the country to create the awareness among general public and to give an opportunity to all the stakeholders to contribute to the cause of road safety as you are aware that we are number one as far as road fatalities are concerned, and 11% of the road fatalities worldwide is happening in India. It's not because of only the roads. It's being there are so many various stakeholders are there, like drivers are there, vehicles are there, and then engineering is there. So all those stakeholders are running this part of this road safety week to make our system, make our roads safer and safer. With this, I again welcome everybody who have joined for this seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, before inviting Honorable Keynote Speaker, Shri Rajiv Lochanji to deliver the keynote address, I take this opportunity to introduce brief profile of him. Shri Lochan is a BTech in Civil Engineering from IIT BHU, Banaras Hindu University, Delhi University, and also MTech in Civil Engineering. Presently, he is holding the appointment of CGM, Legal CMD, and Road Safety Audit at National Highway Authority of India. An officer of the Indian Defence Services of Engineering, IDSC, Shri Lochan ji has about 30 years of experience in central government in project planning, execution, and monitoring, including management of projects funded by the multilateral agencies like World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and other banks. In transport sector, he has worked as a Director of Road Safety in Ministry of Road Transport and Highways from 2012 to 2017, looking after the projects of the various roads. I invite Shri Rajiv Lochan to deliver his address, please. Sir.
Thank you, Praveenji, and good evening to everybody, respected seniors and colleagues and friends. First of all, I thank Safety and Quality Forum of the Institution of Engineers to give me an opportunity to share my thoughts on the subject of road safety with you all. This subject has been quite close to my heart, and I like talking about this subject because so much needs to be done in the field of road safety. My first exposure to the subject, before I embark on that, I would also want to wish all the participants a happy new year, along with the sentiment that the year will be happier if we are able to improve the safety on our roads. My first exposure to this subject was in 2012 when I took over the charge of Director of Road Safety in the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Before that, I had no exposure to this subject as such. But having been exposed to this subject, now I find it difficult to dissociate myself from it, because there is so much that can be done. There are so many low-hanging fruits that I cannot restrain myself from working in this sector. Here in NHAI, my primary responsibility was as Chief General Manager Legal. But when the former chairperson asked me that you are a road safety person, why don't you contribute to this subject? So in spite of my already heavy portfolio, I said I am willing to contribute in this sector because I was aware that there are certain things that need to be done in NHAI also with regard to road safety. It is my firm belief that road safety can be improved a lot through engineering interventions. When I was at pretty early in the ministry, I happened to meet late Professor Kadiali. And when I asked him what can we do as engineers to improve road safety, he said, you need to engineer the behavior of road users. That is, through engineering interventions, you can make the road users behave in the manner in which you want them to, rather than the way in which they want to behave. So this was the starting point as far as engineering interventions are concerned. And after having spent so many years, about 10 years in the sector, I am firmly convinced that a lot can be done by our engineers in the field of road safety. And in fact, today I agreed to speak on this topic primarily because the audience today are engineers, and it is my firm belief, like I told you, that engineers can contribute a lot to this subject. The situation presently in our country, I'll share a small PPT also, which I have prepared. Before going on with this PPT, one thing that I want to tell you is that I have a little difference of opinion with the theme of today's, the Road Safety Week that has been announced. Save yourself, save your family. This gives me an impression that the system as a whole is giving up its responsibility and putting the entire onus on the road user. This, to my mind, is not the correct approach. And this is not the global understanding on the subject. The system has to be safe, and the road user, the entire system has to be safe. The roads have to be forgiving, and minor mistakes by the road user should not lead to severe consequences. This we have to take care of as in charge of the transport system that exists. The mortality and morbidity should not be the price of mobility. That will not be a cost that can be afforded. So the system has to be safe, and the system comprises of the road, basically the road, the vehicle, and the road user. And to understand the issue of safety, it is simple if we divide it in 4 E's: education, engineering again of the vehicles and of the roads, enforcement, and emergency care. All these things have to be in place so that the user is at the end of the day is safe on the road. So save yourself, save your family. I beg to differ a little, and the system has to be safe, and you cannot leave the road user at the mercy of unsafe system components. So with this background, I start the presentation, and we'll go through. I'll try to be as fast as I can, and at the end you can ask me questions, because I have boldly stated that I differ with the theme itself. So you can ask me questions as to why I feel so. Is the screen visible to you?
No,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it visible?
No, sir.
no, sir.
Oh, it is not visible. Okay, let me see.
No visible.
Now is it visible? Okay, thank you. This is the graph showing the growth of road length in India. This data is slightly older, of 2017. Now the latest version also has come. But rural roads comprise the most significant fraction. Thereafter, the other categories of roads. National highways comprise only about 2% of our roads. Road lengths have increased. Vehicles, the number of vehicles also is growing at the rate of about 10%. So facilities for mobility have increased, but so has the exposure of the road users to the risks on the roads. In 2021, the reported data states that there is about a fatality of 1.54 lakh people have died and 3.84 lakh injuries have taken place. Here I would like to point out that this data does have some amount of underreporting, and the data collection system in our country is not yet mature. We are depending entirely on the police and the registered FIRs for this data. This is collected through the state crime record bureaus, and it finally reaches the transport research wing of the ministry, where it is compiled. And the international experience is that if you have X number of fatalities, then the number of serious injuries would be of the order of 15 to 20x. So the figure of 3.84 lakh injuries is definitely is an understatement. A lot say about if there are 1.5 lakh people dying, then about 30 lakh people would be getting seriously injured as per the global experience. You all know that apart from the loss to the family, the economy also suffers, and the loss to the economy has been estimated variously from 1 to 3%, depending on the state of development of the country. Among the fatalities, it is important to note that the 60% of the fatalities occur among the vulnerable road users. Who are these vulnerable road users? The vulnerable road users are basically who do not have a metal shell around them when they are traveling on the road. These are the pedestrians, the cyclists, the two-wheeler riders. They are the most vulnerable road users, and they bear the brunt of road traffic crashes. To my mind, the problem of road safety is also a problem of social equity. We have been designing our roads and vehicles from the perspective of the vehicles, but we have been ignoring the requirement of the other category of road users, these so-called vulnerable road users. We have not been providing them their due space on the road. Many a times we speak of providing ROBs and such things, pedestrian foot over bridges, but there is also a perspective that why should the pedestrian have to climb such a height and then cross the road? Why not the vehicle? Why not it should be the vehicle who makes this climb? So it is a question of the right as to who crosses the road at grade. So this is also an issue which, as engineers, we need to understand and keep in mind that we have to be equitable while we are designing our roads. We have to give the traffic mix in our country is slightly different from what it is in the other developed countries. The number of two-wheeler riders, pedestrians, and non-motorized road users is pretty high, and the traffic on our roads is mixed. It is not only four-wheelers that travel on our road. Even on national highways, we have a mixed traffic. So we need to take into account the requirements of these vulnerable road users also while we design the system. Then we can, as far as the age profile of road accident victims is concerned, people in the age group of 18 to 45 years account for about 70% of fatality. And if we look at people in the age group of 18 to 60, they comprise about 85% of the fatalities. So the younger people of the working age group, they are more exposed to the traffic risk. So they comprise a significant fraction of the fatalities that happen on our roads. This statistics has been taken from the MOTH data. You would see that fatalities have been increasing continuously, and the severity of accidents and the percentage of fatal accidents, the figure here in bracket is the percentage of fatal accidents, they have been increasing continuously over a time. Accident severity is basically the number of people who get killed per 100 accident. As the speeds of vehicles are increasing, the number of people getting killed in per 100 accidents is also, the accident severity has been increasing continuously. This is the accident severity and percentage of fatal accidents. I have not updated this data on purpose also, because you can only simply change the year and the data remains the same. Nothing has been improving on our roads as far as safety is concerned. I may sound a little pessimistic, but a lot needs to be done before we reach anywhere near achieving the task of reducing the fatalities by 50%, let alone reaching the vision zero. We are a long way off from the vision zero. We need to do a lot of work before we can reduce the fatalities by 50% and thereafter move towards vision zero. The national highways, which account for about 2% of the road length, accounts for about 36% of the fatalities. The state highways account for about 25% of the fatalities, and the other roads, they account for about 41% of the fatalities. As far as the urban versus rural areas is concerned, the roads in the rural areas are having more fatalities. The straight length of the roads has more fatalities. Perhaps this is because of the increased speeds in these uninhabited areas and the straight sections of the roads. This again is to depict that the vulnerable road users comprise about 60% of the fatalities happening on our roads. Age profile I have already talked about. The younger people are getting killed. Overspeeding is one of the prime reasons as recorded in the MOTH data. And it is not surprising also because the speed is a cause of the accident or crash also, and the consequence of crash also increases by the square of velocity. As we have all studied in our physics, kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. So the energy increases exponentially with the speed of the vehicle. Driving on the wrong side is another major issue. Drunken driving, use of mobile phones, jumping red light. So like I told you, mobility cannot be death and morbidity cannot be the cost of mobility. The World Health Organization recognizes road safety as a health issue and has been working on this subject. And in fact, a lot of my learning comes from the publications of WHO, which you can find on their website. The World Health Organization has done a lot of work on it. And in fact, the first report, World Report on Injury Prevention 2004, that was the book which gave me an insight into the subject of road safety management. Global initiatives, you would all be aware of this, but at the peril of repetition, I give you a brief overview. 2011 to 20 had been declared by the UN as Decade of Action for Road Safety. Some initiatives were taken during that period. I worked in the ministry from 2012 January to 2017 January. I am privy to some of the things that took place during that period, and I contributed my bit to it. So we'll take a look at those things also. But not enough was done, and the fatalities have not yet shown a sign of declining. Thereafter, in 2015, India was a signatory to the Brasilia Declaration, and we committed that we will reduce the fatalities by 50% by 2020. We are in 2023 now. And thereafter, the UN Sustainable Development Goals were announced, which again now say that fatalities to be reduced by half by 2030. In fact, at the present pace, I am a little pessimistic that the fatalities will reduce to 50%, will decline by that time, let alone reduce by 50% if we continue the way we are on this path. Road safety figures in a number of the sustainable Goal 3, Goal 9, Goal 10, and Goal 11. They all have a bearing on safety issues. Goal 3 says, it's a typographical mistake, by 2030, half the number of global deaths and injuries from road traffic accidents. So that is a difficult goal to achieve, but yet we must definitely strive towards it, and also strive towards Vision Zero. Goal 9 is for developing quality, reliable, sustainable, and resilient infrastructure with a focus on affordable and equitable access for all. Like I told you, the problem of road safety is also a problem of social equity. The poorer people are dying because we are designing our roads for the vehicles only. We do not provide for pedestrian facilities the way they should be provided. We do not provide space for the two-wheeler riders. They are vulnerable, and until we, wherever necessary, we physically segregate the lanes for these two-wheeler riders and provide adequate pedestrian facilities, their safety cannot be ensured. And at the same time, when we talk of sustainable transport for all, in Goal 11, sustainable transport, every year in Delhi, we have pollution issues during the winters. To my mind, a sustainable transport can only be achieved if we improve our public transport, and if we start accepting pedestrianism and non-motorized pedestrianism, cycling, and other non-motorized transport means as valid means of transport. If we continue to depend on personal vehicles the way we are doing, we will not be anywhere near the sustainable transport. That transport is not sustainable. Every year we hear of odd even and the growing pollution. Till we have improved our public transport and promote walking as a means of reaching from one place to another, cycling, at least for short journeys, we'll not be able to have a sustainable system. Globally, as opposed to the emphasis on road user, individual road user, the safe system approach is something which is accepted. They have moved from the emphasis on road user to the safe. The entire system has to be safe. The road user should be educated. The road has to be good. The vehicle engineering has to be safe. Enforcement has to be present on the road, because you would agree that as road users, we behave differently when camera or police are present on the road, and we behave in a different manner when these are not present on the road. So enforcement also is a necessary element. Then howsoever good the system is, there would be crashes and injuries. The question is to mitigate the injuries and to provide treatment during reasoning, say at least in the 1 hour from the happening of the unfortunate event. If the individual is taken to a hospital, the chances of him surviving and not losing a limb is better. So we'll also need incident management systems or emergency care systems on our roads, howsoever good the other components of the system are. These are the 5 pillars of road safety which the UN has notified for the sake of simplicity in management of road safety issues. Road safety management, safer roads and mobility, safer vehicles, safer road users, and post-crash response. Post-crash response is basically the incident management, including the medical care, safer road users who are aware, and then the enforcement is present, safer vehicles. See, one attribute of the vehicle these days which is being looked at is that if a vehicle hits a pedestrian, it should not cause severe injuries. So even the vehicle, the shape of the vehicle and its dimensions are being controlled so that they do not cause injury to the pedestrian. A similar technology is the anti-lock braking system. Anti-lock braking system also is a road user friendly technology in the sense that in case there is an object which has to be avoided, if you apply brake, in the absence of anti-lock braking system, the wheels get locked and it will not be possible for the driver to steer the vehicle. But in case the vehicle has an anti-lock brake system, the vehicle is steerable even if the brakes are applied on an emergency basis. The wheels get released for a fraction of a second, then again the brake applies. So it is possible for the driver to steer the vehicle safely away from the object. So such technologies are road user friendly. Safer roads, we'll see as engineers. In fact, I keep taking advice from Mr. Popley as to what are the engineering measures that we can institute to make our roads safer. And there are many that we can. Say a simple example is if you put a roundabout on a road, it's a 24-hour policeman free of cost, and it transforms all crossing conflicts into merging and diverging conflicts. So it reduces the safe risk on the intersection. Road safety management, we need to have a lead agency which coordinates the entire safety management. These are the 12 sustainable development goals, global road safety performance targets. The first is to have a multi-sectoral national road safety action plan. Similarly, the target 3 is achieve by 2030 that all new roads achieve technical standards for all road users that take into account road safety or meet a 3. That is, all new roads have reasonably good technology. Then the target 4 is that by 2030, 75% of the travel on existing roads is on roads that meet technical standards for all road users. That is, including the old roads, the quality of road should be good and it should be safe for all road users. At least 75% of the road should be such. Similarly, these are the 12 targets. The target 12 is by 2030, all countries establish and achieve national targets in order to minimize the time interval between road traffic crash and provision of first professional emergency care. So all these targets cover the entire gamut of 4 E's. This is the previous understanding that driver's fault is accounts for the crash, and this is the new understanding that the system failures combined with driver's fault, they cause the crash. In the system approach, the focus is on injury causing properties of the system and mitigating them rather than on the errors of the owners, designers, and operators and the road users. A traffic crash is a very complex issue which caused by a complex interaction of various factors. This needs to be understood, and not one single factor can be said to be responsible for an individual accident. This is a Hayden matrix, which is very useful way of understanding the interaction of the different components of the transport system, the human, the vehicle, and the environment, and the temporal distribution of the crash, pre-crash, crash, and post-crash. So what are the factors that can affect crash prevention? So human factors are information, attitudes, impairment, police enforcement. These are the factors that can cause or not cause accident. These are the factors that we can try to control. Vehicle, in the context of vehicles, roadworthiness, lighting, braking, handling, speed management. Environment, road design and layout, speed limits, pedestrian facilities. During the crash, use of restraints, impairment. If say a person is using seat belt, then injury can be prevented. Similarly, in the case of vehicles, if there are occupant seat belts are there, other safety designs are there, crash protective design is there. So that can help in injury prevention during the crash. And post-crash, first aid skills, access to medics. Then as far as the vehicle is concerned, especially in case of highway crashes, it becomes very difficult to take out the occupants from the vehicles. In fact, that in itself in the developed countries is a big science. And cutting a vehicle, how you extricate a victim from the car or the vehicle, that in itself is a big subject. Because if the victim is not handled properly, his injuries may get aggravated and may result in death or disability. So this Hayden's matrix is very important and is very helpful in understanding the road safety management issues. The traffic safety principles for developing a safe system. The first principle is recognition of human frailty. As human beings, our capacity to absorb energy or impacts is limited. Then we are also fallible. As human beings, we are prone to making mistakes. So that is something which the designer should keep in mind. And the designer should endeavor to create a forgiving environment and appropriate crash energy management. So these are some of the principles which help in creating which have to be kept in mind to create a safe system. In low and middle income countries, the non-motorized vehicle and pedestrians are traveling together with the motorized traffic. So this needs to be recognized. The speed limits have to be fixed that way. The space, pedestrian and space has to be provided for these users also. Then only the entire system will be safe. These are the 4 E's that we have talked about for the ease of analyzing the issue of road safety. 5 pillars of road safety also we have seen. Road safety management pillar 1. This I would like to talk to you about a little, because in our country, there is no single body at the central level which is responsible for the issue of road safety. There is no nodal agency till now dedicated to the issue of road safety, because like you saw, road safety involves 4 E's. All these are dealt with by different ministries of the government. Education by the Education Ministry, then emergency care by the Health Ministry, enforcement by the Ministry of Home Affairs, then Ministry of Road Transport and Highways also comes in. Ministry of Urban Affairs is also involved. Likewise, the issues, enforcement is a state subject. Health also is a state subject. Roads other than national highways are also a state subject. So a lot of coordination is required between the different ministries at the central level and the central and the state governments also to handle the issue of road safety. So a nodal agency, a lead agency has been the requirement for quite some time. In 2008, a Sundar committee report had been submitted, which had studied the practices in all the developed countries and developing countries and given a recommendation that we should have a National Road Safety and Traffic Management Board. A bill also of the same name, National Road Safety and Traffic Management Board bill, was introduced in Lok Sabha in the year 2010. It lapsed in 2014, and thereafter this board could not be constituted, and finally in the 2019 amendments to the Motor Vehicle Act, the act provides for a National Road Safety Board now, but that board is not yet functional in our country. Rules have been notified, about a year back in 2021, but only the top few posts have been notified. And for the board to be effective, really effective, at least 300-400 people would need to work in the board, having specializations in across all the 4 E's, who will help coordinate on between the ministries and between the central and state government and provide the necessary technical input. But I am dismayed to find that till now, this board is not in place as yet. However, Supreme Court Committee on Road Safety had been constituted sometime in 2016. That has undertaken some amount of coordination with the states and between the ministries, and because of which there has been some traction. This Committee on Road Safety, Supreme Court Committee on Road Safety, they have got road safety cells created in the states also. So some kind of nodal agencies have been designated in the states also, but these are till date insufficient and do not actually have either the technical knowledge or management capabilities to handle the issue of road safety. For example, in America, there is a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, which works on the different aspects of all these 4 E's and makes regulations concerning all these. There is also a Federal Highway Administration. So all the countries have such similar arrangements, but our country is yet to have such a nodal body. The crash database management is also something, like I told you, the data is not very reliable. Recently, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has started a accident data collection system of the name IRAD, Integrated Road Accident Database. It is hoped that this system will provide reliable data to be used for managing road safety issues. This we have already talked about. $18 persons die every hour and about 422 people are dying every day, if you go by the 2021 statistics. This is akin to 2 jumbo jets crashing every day, and yet there is not so much noise about it, because mostly the people dying come from the poorer section of the society. When some affluent person dies, affluent or influential person dies, there is definitely a hue and cry for 1 or 2 days. But thereafter, we forget the issue and we continue with business as usual. Then safer roads. This pillar 2 is primarily the responsibility of engineers, that we design and construct, plan, design and construct roads which are safe for all category of road users. At NHAI, in fact, we are working on improving the DPRs of the highways so that the safety provisions get included in the bid document itself and they are not missed out during the construction. We are also working on road safety audit. In fact, road safety audit has been is being done for some time now, but the recommendations of the auditors go unactioned. So we are working on ensuring that the recommendations of auditors are complied to the extent they can be. And in case they cannot be complied, at least reasons are given as to why they cannot be complied with. We are working on the management of black spots and accident-prone spots. We can improve the existing roads by junction improvement, improving sharp curves, and all these issues which affect safety on highways. In fact, even a broad look at the data shows that the junctions of the higher category road with the lower category road and the locations where these highways pass through habitations, these two are very critical areas, and a lot of crashes take place at these junctions and where the highway passes through habitations. So these need to be improved. In our country, in fact, there is no system, formal system of communication between the different hierarchy of road authorities. Say the rural roads, they function in their own silo. The state highways in another silo, and the national highways, they function in one silo. And none of these authorities speak to each other. In fact, I had it in my mind to request Nirmal sir as head of IRC to take up some kind of, to evolve some kind of guidelines and communication channels for communication between all these road authorities, so that when a lower category road meets a higher category road, the junction is not left unattended. In fact, we are trying to implement in NHAI a policy that already exists, that when a highway is planned, it is within the policy of NHAI to develop the lower category road also for up to a length of say 200 meters, so that the lower category road merges properly with the higher category road, along with all signs, signages, speed hump, acceleration zones, whatever is required from an engineering point of view. So this is something that we as engineers can help improve on our different categories of roads. And if the different categories of the authorities of in charge of the different categories of roads speak to each other, a lot of problems will get resolved. There is definitely a need for such communication. I first came to know that such a system exists in other countries when there was a UNESCAP convention which had called us, and they had also circulated a questionnaire and had asked us about what is the system that in your country for such kind of communication. So I realized that there is a need, such a formal system of communication between the different road user authorities. I had the good fortune of working in the rural road sector also for about 2 years in NRRDA. Then I have been working at NHAI, and for 5 years I had worked at MOTH. So I have little exposure to all the levels of road ownership. And I can firmly say that some kind of communication between these authorities is definitely required. These are the things that need to be kept in mind while, from an engineering point of view, for designing a good, safe road. Safer vehicles, we have already talked about. And as, in fact, as a safety person, I am not so much worried about safety features in vehicles, because I feel that the technologies, safety technologies or good vehicle technologies come to our country through the market forces also. People have been, whatever the market demands is coming to our country. But good engineering practices with regard to roads and road safety management, that is something which we need to learn and bring to our country. Vehicles, you would find that all the BMW and Mercedes and all the technologies that are available in these vehicles, if you are willing to pay the money, the technology is available in our country also. But the ministry has also taken care to mandate some of the important technologies in even the lowest category vehicles. Like say, a minimum number of airbags, seatbelt alarm on the driver and co-driver seat. Then high speed, say if a vehicle crosses 80 km/h, there is a beep. So all these things are being mandated and technology in vehicles is getting improved. But my worry is more about the safer roads and the other components of the system, such as enforcement, emergency care. These things are something which we need to learn from the developed countries and implement in our country. Safer vehicles are coming to our country through the market forces. Education and awareness, like I told you, I do not relish putting the onus entirely on the road users. Professor Dinesh Mohan from IIT Delhi, who is no more now, passed away during the COVID period. He used to say that many times the educating a small child proves counterintuitive. When you educate a small child on road safety and he confidently crosses a road, many a times instead of his safety improving, it deteriorates because a small child, because of his small size, is not conspicuous. Also, his sensory faculties are not so developed. So his judgment of an oncoming vehicle's speed may not be accurate. So it is safest for a small child to hold the hand of an elder and cross the road. So in any case, the system has to be road safety, user education has to be there. Like Mr. Popley started as to why we have this road safety week. In fact, I had the occasion to organize the road safety week in our country right from 2012 to for about 4 or 5 years. I organized this road safety week, and instead of calling it a celebration, I would say it is an observation. It's a window to observe road safety related measures, and it's an opportunity to all the stakeholders. The stakeholders are the road user, the vehicle manufacturer, the engineers, the police people, the doctors and trauma care professionals. All these need to think about of various ways in which they can contribute to improving the safety scenario in our country. It's an occasion for all of these to interact with each other and to mull over as to how together they can improve the safety scenario on our roads. These are some of the, as engineers, on the aspect of improving enforcement on our road, safer road users. Now our highways have advanced traffic management system, which are ITS enabled. And the government also has recognized electronic measurements for enforcing road safety regulations. So we need to provide our roads with advanced ATMS mechanisms and coordinate with the state enforcement authorities so that the data that is generated by these equipments are used for enforcing traffic regulations. This is more so for the highways, where there is very little presence of police on the highways, because the number of policemen in our country compared to the population that we have, that in itself is very inadequate. And it will be a long time before we have police presence in the required numbers on our highways. So we will need to keep depending on the ATMS technologies and other technologies for helping our police people in enforcing traffic regulations. Then post-crash care, like I told you, in spite even the best system, there are bound to be some crashes. And the question is, how do we reduce the injuries and how we reduce the fatalities and morbidities. So an emergency care, incident management and emergency care system is an inevitable requirement of a safe system. The road crash victim should be able to reach an authoritative medical care center, a hospital, within a maximum of 1 hour from the incident. In fact, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has notified a scheme for cashless treatment of road accident victims in the Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2019. And in fact, it is being in the process of being implemented. While in the ministry, we had done some 3 pilots, one in the Gurgaon Jaipur stretch, another in Ranchi Jamshedpur, and another in Vadodara Mumbai stretch we had done. So based on these pilots, NHAI now is in the process of bidding out a cashless scheme for treating road accident victims. And the cashless scheme provides that if there is accident happens on the road, the victim will be provided emergency treatment up to the extent of expenditure of rupees 30,000 or 48 hours, whichever is earlier. So when we were doing this pilot, we saw that no accident victims are left on the highways because the hospitals around the highway know that if they take the victim to a hospital and treat him, they are assured of receiving at least rupees 30,000. So the victims were assured of getting immediate medical attention. So this, in fact, goes a long way in preventing fatalities and morbidities, disabilities. In fact, simple first aid techniques like making a victim lie on his side instead of on his back will help his chances of survival. So because his body fluids like blood should not go in his breathing passage, in the victim's breathing passage. If you make him lie on his side, by gravity, all these fluids will be drained out from his mouth and will not enter his breathing passage. Similarly, if there has been loss of blood, simply by raising the legs of the victim, you can give him additional to about 15 to 20 minutes by improving the blood supply to the heart and brain. So simple first aid techniques, all of us, especially those who work near the highways or travel on the highways, we need to know so that we are able to provide first aid in case we come across a traffic crash victim. In fact, now we have a universal helpline on highways, number 1033, which apart from taking all kinds of complaints regarding the highway, it also informs the incident management system about crashes and the need for ambulance. Safety on the radar of government, many of these things I've already talked about. The Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2019. This was a result of a large-scale deliberation with the states. A group of ministers had been set up by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highway. And after detailed deliberation with the states, a large number of changes were made in the Motor Vehicle Act, which included increase of penalties, provisions for the cashless treatment, then creation of a road safety accident fund and such like. Creation of a National Road Safety and Traffic Management Board. So all these things are on the radar of the government. The government is trying its bit, but we all need to support it and do our bit so that at the end of the day, we are able to have a safe system and we improve the safety on our roads. I'll not dwell on these more because I have taken a lot of time already. Supreme Court also has done its bit, and because of the fear of Supreme Court, the states of governments have undertaken a lot many initiatives which are required to be undertaken. Otherwise, there was not any traction on the advice of the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, but because of the Committee on Road Safety, a lot of improvement has taken place. Prevention is better than cure. So this is especially in the context of road construction, that the DPRs itself should be good. I have also talked about the traffic calming techniques because I told you that wherever the highways pass through habitations, we need to put in place traffic calming techniques. We need to reduce the speed. Because of the heterogeneity of traffic, we need to reduce the speed so that the injuries to the vulnerable road users can be controlled. It is understood that if the speed of the vehicle is up to 30 km/h, it will not, a crash with a pedestrian will not result in fatality. These are some of the active and passive traffic calming techniques. The need to balance unhindered movement and the safety of users. Speed zones based on the land use. Simple measure like providing a rough textured road. This is an engineering measure for improving speed, say in a marketplace, in front of a school. In Delhi, you would have noticed in front of Sai Mandir, dressed cobblestone pavement is there. Everyone reduces speed automatically. This is a rural road, and this is as it is, and this is as it should be. These are some of the engineering, the delineators, the chevron markings, the speed limit signs. These are some of the engineering measures that we can take on the smaller roads. Finally, to sum it up, orientation to needs and concerns of road users, particularly the most vulnerable road users. We all need to be sensitive to their requirements. Then we must treat the road as a network and not just a rural road or a state highway or a national highway. Then resources have to be deployed commensurate to the safety problem on the roads. There are no free lunches. Improvements will not take place unless we make the required investment. Coordinated approach has to be there. All the, like I said, central government, state government, different ministries, private sector government, all these we have to work in sync. Otherwise, if we keep working in silos, improvements will not happen. Enhancement of professional knowledge in safety related actions through workshops, seminars, interactive dialogues has to be there. We have to undertake research in our Indian context. Whatever research has been done, a large part of it is in the Western context. Network with international institutions, improvement in DPRs, and whatever each of us can contribute counts. Thank you so much for giving me a patient hearing. I hope I have been able to convey my thoughts. Primarily today, talking to engineers, my emphasis was on stating that as engineers, we can do a lot to improve road safety. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity of sharing my thoughts on the subject of road safety. If you have any questions, otherwise also in future, I would want to interact with you and to discuss with you the things that we can together do as engineers to improve safety in our countries. Thank you so much. Wish you all a happy new year once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for a very eye-opening and very informative keynote address. And you have touched key issues that were not looked or overlooked, maybe due to some reasons. And your roadmap presentation for improving the road safety performance is very informative and demand of the time. So your speech was very truly inspiring and kept us spellbound. And I'm sure that a lot is going to come up for this at our platform. Apart from that, sir, we have received numerous appreciations for this presentation in the chat box today. And we are glad that your presentation was very informative. And for question answer, sir, after the Chief Guest Honorable Chief Guest address, we'll be taking up the question and answer from the participants. Thank you very much, sir. Now, before inviting Honorable Chief Guest, Shri S.K. Nirmalji to deliver his address, I take the opportunity to introduce brief profile of Honorable Chief Guest. Shri S.K. Nirmal, presently Secretary General of Indian Road Congress and former DG North. He is Bachelor Engineering Civil Honors and MSc Road Engineering, MBA and Diploma in French language. Mr. S.K. Nirmal is a recipient of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Medal for outstanding contribution to highway profession, awarded by IRC. He is the first officer of the ministry to receive this prestigious award. He is a recipient of Best Technical Paper Award, IRC Medal in 2019, recipient of CRT Scholarship during graduation study. Mr. Nirmal executed various responsibilities as Member Secretary of various committees of IRC like Highway Research Board under IRC, Flexible Pavement Committee, Transport Planning Committee, Composite Pavement Committee, Bridge Maintenance and Rehabilitation Committee, and Project Preparation Committee. I request Mr. S.K. Nirmalji to start his address. Sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I am grateful to Safety and Quality Forum, the Institution of Engineers India, who is organizing this webinar in association with the Institution of Engineers India, Delhi Center, then Tiruchirapalli Local Center, Alwar Center, and all the engineers present here. So as a part of the Road Safety Week, in fact, Ministry is organizing this Road Safety Week starting from 11th of January, and this will be ending on the 18th of January. And this is in middle of the week, we are organizing this particular webinar. So let me first of all congratulate my colleague, Mr. Rajiv Lochan, for giving me a very excellent presentation, which has covered almost every aspect of the road safety, not only for engineers, but for all other. He has talked about 4 E's, he has talked about 5 pillars of road safety. But still, as a chief guest, I also have the, honors to deliver my own address. So, as we all know that India is continuously for more than a decade, we are leading in the traffic fatalities. The almost for last 10 years, data, more than 1.5 lakh deaths are taking place on road crashes. In fact, there was just a brief period of 1 year during the Corona period when we saw the reduction in the figures, and the deaths were reduced by 20,000 from 1.5 to 1.31 lakh. But again, this year, about 15 days back when the data were released for 2021, we have seen that this has again overpassed the 2019 figures. So we are having 1,53,972 deaths. So this is the highest so far in the casualties. And if you see the global death figure, that is only 13.5 lakh. In the entire world, 13.5 lakh people are getting killed in 1 year. Whereas in India alone, we are getting more than 1.5 lakh. So that is more than 11%. So this is a really very dubious distinction that we are leading this figure. And that is why we have to be very, very concerned. And we cannot allow the situation to be like this when we have all the resources in our hands. When the national highways and state highways, both central government and state government are providing all the resources for improvement of these category roads. And not only this, and at the global level, United Nations is continuously, for earlier decade also, 2011 to 21, they had the first decade on action for road safety. Again, from 2021 to 30, they have declared the second decade for action for road safety. So that is the commitment of international level. And our ministry also, even our honorable minister at various forums, he has been talking to all of us that we have to be very, very passionate about road safety. And we have to see that it is not only the engineer's view, but everybody, all of us are road users. So we have to be, we have to contribute individually to this cause. And as an Indian Road Congress Secretary General, we are producing the documents which are required for the authorities. In the last year, I mean, every year we are coming out with the documents, standards dedicated to road safety. We have a committee dedicated to road safety, and 2022 itself, we have come out with two very, very important documents. One was on the guideline for pedestrian facility, because a lot of pedestrians which are known, I mean, these are also road users. They are getting killed and without their mistakes, because we are not providing them right of way. We are not providing them proper, I mean, crossings. So that is, I mean, we have to see that what improvement is required. That is why we have come out with this guideline, IRC 103/2022 about the pedestrian facility. Even, in fact, even the court has also asked IRC that why don't you improve your guidelines? So we have improved this. And then another important guideline about the technical measures when we are talking about engineering measures. IRC 131 is guideline on identifying and treating black spots. This is also 2022 publication. In fact, earlier also we have been doing this for last 5 years. The engineering measures ministry is taking, all PWDs are taking, all the road user agencies are taking, the road construction agencies are taking the engineering measures, but there were no scientifically prepared guideline. So this has been published in 2022 and we got it released from our honorable minister in our annual session. And I think this, once you see this is a very user friendly. This is all the checklist requirement and how to address this black spots. So I think this will be a very good document for all of us when you see this. Apart from that, in the various studies which have been done, what has come out is that the speed is the biggest culprit. 67% of the deaths are taking place because of overspeeding. For that, earlier we had a document in 2019 about the traffic calming measures. I think Mr. Rajiv Lochan has already explained in detail about the traffic calming measures, zoning, all these concepts which are already there in that particular guideline. But this is the only way, in particular in cities, wherever in any city which has addressed the road safety issue, they have introduced these traffic calming measures, speed reduction measures. That is how they have contained these fatalities. So, and then what has come out, we had a document on roundabouts. When I was making a presentation in the United States in Washington, and I was explaining them that in Delhi, particularly New Delhi area, we have a lot of roundabouts. And if you see the casualty figure, there are hardly any accidents on these roundabouts. Wherever any other junctions you see, maximum accidents are taking place on the junctions. Though we are taking all the measures, I think Mr. Rajiv also was mentioning that yes, that IRC should take care of that various interactions we should have with all the construction agencies. We have been doing this, and in fact, we have one more committee which is dedicated to road safety audit, auditor certification. So there also we have the all the users are contributing in that particular committee. In fact, that committee had also prepared a standard curriculum that we should have the capacity building exercise. So for that purpose, a standard curriculum was prepared by this committee. All the IITs, NITs were invited. And in fact, in the first lot, about 12 IITs, NITs, we have signed the MOU. They are already training the professionals on road safety audit. So that is a very important aspect. And now this year again, ministry about 2 months back, they have reiterated that for all projects, the design stage road audit is compulsory. And before opening also, road safety audit is compulsory. So we want to see that all the roads must be designed to the requirement of road safety audit. And in fact, we have a road safety audit manual on road safety audit updated in 2019 with the assistance of World Bank. So all the documents, all the guidelines are in place. And in fact, the last 2 years, internationally, a lot of studies have been done, and they have demonstrated that by simple following the correct engineering measures, we can definitely reduce the fatalities. Accidents cannot be reduced. Human error cannot be reduced. Human are bound to have the errors. Maybe sometimes it is just by, they are not intentional errors, but they are bound to have some errors. Accidents are bound to have. But what we can reduce is the severity of the accidents. What we can reduce is the injuries through these accidents, fatalities through these accidents. And then post-accident care is another important area. When you see the international figures, United States is having 5 times more accidents than India, 5 times more, but they have 5 times less death. What is this? I mean, they have a huge road network. In fact, they have the largest road network in the world, and we have the second largest road network in the world. So why they are able to contain their fatalities is by following these design procedures, correct design procedures in the road, providing all the whatever care is required for the safety of the road users. They have taken all that. And then most importantly, the post-accident care. After the accident, trauma cares, and how promptly we can address that issues. So that is all which is required to be, we have to have emphasis, full emphasis. In fact, ministry has in the last couple of years, we have a lot of programs for that. Trauma cares are also a very important area where Ministry of Health is also cooperating with us. And that is how we can take the victims immediately. We are awarding those Good Samaritan scheme. We are providing the immediate care. We are giving them that cash incentive. Then cashless treatment also is being done. So there are a lot of schemes, in fact, because the time is not permitting, because already we have overshooted, I think, the original schedule. Otherwise, the ministry has taken up a lot of steps in this direction. And then one important area where we were lacking, that is what when we talk, that mindset, that our unless there is an enforcement, we don't follow the rules. That is what is the general mindset in our country. And once we introduced that 2019 Motor Vehicle Act amendment, where we increased the penalties for violations, I think there were definitely more followers for the traffic rules, because once we increase these 5 times, 10 times these fines, especially the taxi drivers, and they are obeying these rules. They are not jumping the red lights because of the heavy fines which we are introducing. Then there are a lot of things which we have to do. There are more areas we have to do. And I think because time is not permitting, but ministry is taking these steps to address this issue very seriously. There is no dearth of money in road safety account. Ministry is very generous in providing sanctioning. We have delegated a lot of powers to our field officers, not only in Ministry of PWDs, but in our, NHAI also has delegated a lot of power, so that once a black spot is identified, immediately it is addressed. The immediate repair must be done within 3 months. Then the permanent repair or whatever rectification required must be done in a time-bound manner. There is no problem about resources. And the second one more important area, that national highways are getting all the resources. Still, we find that the latest data, 2021 data, says that 37% of the people getting killed are on national highways. So that is another area of very serious concern for for road sector, that high speed corridors and national highways, why we are getting so much of fatalities. So we are trying to address these through the road safety audits, capacity building, and coming out with a lot of guidelines. And in fact, I would ask you if there are any feedback on these guidelines which have been published in 2021-22. I will welcome all these feedbacks, and we are always willing to improve our documents. And I think unless we take this as a challenge ourselves, that each of us has to contribute, because each of us is a road user. So we must contribute to the cause of road safety through passionately. So that is what is the message which I want on this occasion of Road Safety Week, which we also take oath that we should not violate the traffic rules. If we should not be just guided by that, unless there is an enforcement, we will not follow. That is what I think, but the mindset has to be changed, and we all must contribute to the cause of road safety. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very kind and very informative address, apprising about the various actions that Ministry is taking to improve the road safety performance levels. Now I invite Shri R.N. Rajput, immediate past Chairman of Safety and Quality Forum, to make a concluding remarks of the today's addresses, and also to take up the audience questions. Rajput ji.
Thank you very much, Parveen ji. Respected Nirmal ji, our chief guest, and keynote address by Mr. Lochan, Rajiv Lochan, CGM, National Highway Authority of India. We have Dinesh ji, Chairman, Safety and Quality Forum. We have a lot of dignitaries around us, the chairpersons of local networks, such as Alwar, Joshi ji is there, Tiruchirapalli, and others. We have our council member of Institution of Engineers also joined. I welcome them. And we have a lot of dignitaries at their past chairman, also Mr. Bagodia is there, and member of the Institution of Engineers, member of other professional organization. On behalf of Safety and Quality Forum, as Mr. Dinesh ji has already welcomed you, I just want to stress one point that he has already pointed out, that this time the theme is from the user side, that save yourself to save your family. If you are safe, your family is safe. We will discuss this point. I will come to that during the conclusion. Before that, I request the participant to raise their hand to have the questions. And because we have already, it's going to be 6:40. So within 5 to 10 minutes, we want to wrap up this webinar. So I request kindly to be specific to your question and have only 4 or 5 questions. So we start with Dr. Bhandarkar, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Your question, sir. Good
Yeah,
evening. Good evening. Mr. Bhandarkar is our council member. Sir, your question, sir.
Yes,
To
sir,
whom it is addressed.
Yeah, it was wonderful presentation by both the dignitaries. Which is brought forward is the human error, and the other part which is contributes to the accidents, and they have addressed the issue like safe place and safe person. Here I have one suggestion. The involvement of technology, though Mr. Raju Lochan has said, it has to go big way. Can we develop IoT-based information system? Like we know this packet, lot of accidents are there. So in that case, we identify, organize a thing, and have an automatic message delivering system and safety management system based on IoT. My second suggestion would be, the mindset is very nicely said by Nirmal ji. So in this case, the professional institution, like Institution of Engineers, they have a huge setup all over India in our country. The organization. So the use of the help of these professional, which will go in long way. Thank you. And one, I just want to know the age, the human error is whopping 66%. It was shown in one of the slides. Is it true, sir? 66% accidents happening because of human error. So that if you could just tell us something more, we'll be obliged. Thank you. Yes, amazing presentation by both. And thank you, Quality Forum, Safety and Quality Forum, for this relevant program. Namaskar.
Thank you, Bhatnagarji.
To respond to the
Lochan Saab, if you want to say something on this?
yes, I would definitely. Actually, till about 2-3 years back, the data of Ministry of Road Transport and Highways used to say that 78% of the accidents are due to road user fault. But that perception has changed, and the latest data does not say so. So that the data had been shown in the context of what was the earlier perception. Now the perception is that accidents occur due to a complex interaction of a large number of factors, and it is very difficult to pinpoint that accident has occurred only due to the user's fault. It's a complex interaction of factors. Thank you.
I think I would just like to compliment him and further that now what we are saying, that we have to design a safe system approach. We know that fault is bound to have. Human has, there is no denying that there are human errors when they are driving. But we have to provide a forgiving road. That is a new concept which has come. That if suppose one person has forgot to take a right turn, then we must have a forgiving road, that another opportunity should be given to him to come back instead of taking the wrong route, coming back on the same lane and following, in the reverse direction. So that is a concept of forgiving road. So if we properly design this, then we can, this particular element can be addressed through our designs of forgiving roads. That is what is a new concept. Earlier, what was happening, because this data, whatever data is coming as authentic data of Ministry of Road Transport, they are through the FIRs of the police stations. And police station, when the police go to the site and they find that many times they are not able to find the reason, then they write that human error was there. So because they are not engineers and they don't know, many times they don't analyze even the reasons for the accident. So they all are categorized as human error. I think that is why even he is saying 70%, but prior to that, even 95% of the accidents are being attributed to the human error. So that is not correct. And when we start analyzing these data, I think the new accident data collection format is trying to address this particular issue so that we come to pinpoint the real reasons, not only just simply giving on the human error aspect.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other question? I'm not seeing any question in the chat. Anybody wants to have any question, or we proceed further? There is no question, then we move further, sir. Now we are coming to the topic that save yourself and save your family. It is, very
Mr.
true.
GP Kumawat wants to ask one question.
He wants?
Mr.
Okay.
Kumawat.
Kwabaji, kindly put up your question, please.
Sir. Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, sir. One thing is there. We have discussed lot many things about highway, state highway, and other roads. But in the city planning, this design and construction mechanism is very much lacking. Especially if you see any city, like I can give an example of Noida, you will find the road designs are very poor. And the intersections, as Mr. Nirmal has told, that in the New Delhi area, a lot of roundabouts are there and circles are there, and there is no accident. But whereas in the cities design like Bangalore or in Noida or in other cities also, the design is very poor comparatively, so that the accidents are taking very much. You will find that in the Noida, every 200 meter they have made the underpass. The making the underpass is not the solution. Instead of that, they can make a good roundabouts and traffic can be controlled very effectively. Whereas, and making the road above the road, elevated road, and other things are there. So I can say that in the city design, roads also requires very much intervention of the highway authorities and the other city or municipal authorities, because we are designing great highways, but at the same time in the city we are finding lot many difficulties to move. Yesterday only I was observing an an accident in of the Bangalore. One girl was going on the scooty, and due to road hole he fell down, and the scooty was on the another side and she was crushed below the truck. So these are the things taking place in the city areas particularly. So in the city, like in Mumbai, every time we are finding, in the rainy season, we are finding number of cases of such kind. Because this, when we are taking up the things for the highways, this should be taken up at the city level also more effectively. Because we have made the big cities, but the traffic mechanism and control mechanism is very poor. Anti-crash blocks can be placed, and wherever is the such a dead or the black holes are there, plastic black PVC or black this kind of PVC blocks can be placed, so that in the collision stage also there is no fatality. At least the severity of injury can be very less. And another thing is we have discussed and told in the talk that school education and other education to the passengers and the driving people can serve more effectively. Thank you.
Nirmalji, you want to say something
I
on this
think
issue?
he is right that yes, we are not addressing the vulnerable road users' concerns, especially in the urban area to that extent. But for that purpose, our traffic calming measures document, which is addressing to both urban as well as the rural area, because we have in that particular document we have zoned various areas that where what the speed, 30 speed limit, 40 speed limit. So like that we have identified the areas within the urban city. And then the second thing is we are not providing the proper right of way to each road user. Pedestrian also is a road user. Bicyclist is also a road user. Unless we take care of all the road users, we give them right of way, like footpaths should be reserved for these pedestrians, but they are encroached upon. Cyclists, there is no way. That is why they are mixed and they are all driving on the main highway. So we must address to the requirement of all the road users, particularly in the city area. Then we can segregate them, and then we can, I think, address to some extent this problem in the urban areas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nirmalji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Joshi sir want to say something. Yes, Joshi sir.
Sir, I have observed two things on the road, that truck drivers who are moving on highway, they are never following the lane system. That is one part. But how to take care of that thing? Number two is who is taking responsibility of the accidents happening due to poor quality of the roads? These are the two major things that are coming in my mind.
Nirmalji, you want to say something on this?
I think he is right that yes, lane discipline is a very biggest problem on highways, because enforcement is with the state government, and this management and this construction is with the, maybe if national highway it is a central government, state highway is a state government. So we are not able to have the lane discipline, though in Delhi they try to have the lane discipline of buses. So that has some other issues has come out, but I think they have started this particular area, lane discipline. And then the second issue, he was talking about the poor maintenance of the road. Ministry has taken very seriously this issue, and in fact now in the latest amendment, 2019 amendment of Motor Vehicle Act, even if there is a death due to pothole or poor maintenance, even the authorities engineer also will be put responsible. Even FIR can be lodged against the authority if there is a death because of the poor maintenance of the road. So that has been addressed in the latest amendment of the Motor Vehicle Act.
Thank you.
There is another question from Mr. Vikas.
एक सेकंड सर, मैं कुछ बोलना चाहता हूँ
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
लेन
Yes,
वाला
sir.
प्रॉब्लम अपने कंट्री में, it is a difficult problem compared to other countries where the traffic is not mixed. In our country, the traffic is mixed. Trucks, they move at a slower speed, but they usually move in the rightmost lane. In
Yes.
case they move to the leftmost lane, the problem is, where do the vulnerable road users go? Where do the cyclists, motorcyclists go? So in our country, balancing the interest of different categories of road users is a more difficult than compared to a country where the traffic is not so mixed. So this is a complex problem, and maybe IRC under the leadership of Nirmal sir would try to resolve this, because this is a very, in fact, when we were drafting the rules of road regulation in 2018, we found that segregating motorcyclists from vehicles, larger vehicles, is an issue. You cannot do that. So you have to allow them to weave between the vehicles. So such issues are typical to the Asian countries, the Southeast Asian countries, where more study needs to be done on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Then Mr. Vikas has one question. Mr. Vikas, you can ask your question, please.
Yeah, good evening, sir. While on road, I come across various vehicles which have very high decibel sirens. Siren. Those are not the government vehicles, or those are not the government officials. So, while in traffic, when these sirens blow, they come wailing to cross the traffic and to cross the roundabouts. So they create a sort of panic in the traffic. So is there some kind of solutions to enforce the rules? Rule is already there, but the enforcement is not done. Thank you.
Nirmalji?
Yeah, you are
You're
right.
asking
The
the
rules
what?
are there. Honking is not allowed in, particularly, especially if you see the hospital, near hospitals, there we are putting the no honking signs near school zones. So there are many areas where we are not allowing the honking, and that there are rules for violation. There are penalties for violation, and if you travel abroad, you find there is no honking at all. I mean, everybody should be so disciplined that what will happen if you are in a traffic situation, if you are in a congestion situation, if you keep on honking, what will happen? Nothing, unless it is irritating. So rather than that, so already there are rules for penalties and for violation. But that is there are some people, there are some violators in everywhere. So we are not able to address to simple. It is all our, we have to educate ourselves. I think that is what is required.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Now, because we are running short of time,
Okay,
and
Singh has
7 o'clock,
asked one
sir.
question.
Now we stop the question answer session. Now coming to our theme, the save yourself and save your family. This is a very good theme. This time government has chosen, because indirectly they are saying that if you are safe, your family is safe. You have to save yourself. Means because I belong to railway, there is a phenomena that unless 2 persons do the mistake, accident cannot happen. If road user is aware of all the systems, and he aware before crossing the road, and he see that left and right, but rules are there to see first left, then see the right, then cross the road. If he is adherent to this rule, and driver also, when zebra crossing there, a person is crossing there, he is come down their speed, etc. Means observe the rules, then there is no accident. So this theme, because if you are the only bread earner of your family, then what happened to your family? We have to see that. So this is a very good, this time government has come up with a very good theme. And what are the objective of the celebrating this year, safety week? No, if you travel in air, every time they are reminding you the safety guidelines, that how to wear the belt and all these things, because everybody knows. But still, in every flight before startup there, this safety instructions are shown to everybody. Similarly, and every year government is trying to make you aware that there is a safety. Is safety is for yourself, not for the others. So you have to save yourself. So objective of the safety week is to decrease the road accidents, encourage the traveler to follow traffic rules, and our both the speakers have stress on these points that if you follow the traffic rule, there will be no accident. Avoid using alcohol, use your belt, all the safety measures. Everybody talking about that. And what happened? But as Lochanji has pointed out in his data, that fatal accident is at the age of 19 to 45. So we have to cater these safety measures to schools and colleges also first, because all this junk we are talking about, that 19 to 45 belongs to that college or schools, and about 30 we can say they are working people. So first we have to cater the safety measures in school and colleges. This is my personal thing, because enforcement is another issue. As Mr. Nirmal has pointed out, that rules are there, everything is available, but enforcement is not there. In other countries, if you see, if there is some, I was in Singapore, I saw one motorcyclist cross the red light. After crossing the red light, he remained standing there, and after 1 hour or so, the traffic challan came. Then he challaned it. But in India, they try to see left and right and try to run away. So these are the things, and we have to change our mindset. Then only enforcement is possible. Fine, giving a big fine, 2,000, 3,000, 20,000. No, this is not going to work until unless we change our mindset. So our mindset here in India, if you talk about the person who goes to Singapore or other countries, their mindset automatically change. So here we have to change our mindset, and both the speaker has covered all the aspects, and I have nothing to say about concluding remarks. So it's back to Parveenji for formal vote of thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of the Safety and Quality Forum, Delhi State Centre, Tiruchirapalli Local Centre, and Alwar Local Centre, it's my privilege to present the formal vote of thanks at the conclusion of this excellent webinar. We are highly privileged to host this webinar in a most befitting manner, and the presence of Honorable Chief Guest Shri S.K. Nirmal, Secretary General, Indian Road Congress, has added grace and value to this function. Our grateful thanks to our Honorable Chief Guest. His speech was very so thoughtful and provoking that it's really made us think about how we have to take necessary action at our end to reduce the road fatalities. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful speech.
Thank you.
Also grateful to Shri Rajiv Lochanji, CGM, Legal, CMD and Road Safety Audit at NHI, for sharing valuable inputs for strengthening the road safety in our lifestyle, in our system also. We also express our gratitude to other members of the working group who participated in this webinar. I would also like to add that we are grateful that this company is being seen at a pan-India level. We have people from North India also. We are here from Western side, from Dharwad Center, from Goa. People are there from southern part also. Council members and chairmen are there, and eastern part also. So I would like to list on few names: Engineer S.C. Joshi, Chairman, past Chairman, Alwar Local Center, Office Bearer of Telangana State Centers. Engineer Brahma Reddy is Chairman of Office Bearer of Tiruchirapalli Local Centers. Apart from him, Mr. Engineer Brahma Reddy is Chairman of Telangana State Center, very active member, and has been organizing various programs on key issues relating to the engineering, safety, environment, and other issues. And apart from that, we have Mr. Gopal Kumar. He will be associating us with in the near future. He is their expert in the electrical safety for hospitals. Mr. R.K. Bagrodia is past chairman of Delhi State Centre of the Institute of Engineers India. Commander Bhandarkar is from Goa, Mumbai side. Mr. Vijay Todikar is chairman for Dharwad Center. Mr. Mukesh Kumar Singh is joined from the Anpara local centers. And Mr. Nilkani is from the Gujarat State Center. So privileged to see the people from all over India attending this webinar, and also encouraging us.
And Parveenji, Mr. Yadav from Nepal, he has joined.
Oh, great, sir. Great. Thank you very much, sir. Yadav sir. Welcome. So it's a very encouraging for us that we'll be organizing such awareness programs in a webinar, virtual mode or physical mode regularly at a regular interval. So our grateful thanks to all the distinguished participants for their active participation in this webinar. Thanks to all of you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you all.
And happy Lori, happy Makar Sankranti, and happy Pongal also.
Dinesh, any comment
Thank
from your side? Last comment?
Thank you, sir, to all. And this is a good success. At least, as Praveen ji told, that we have been able to join Pan India. Almost all corners of India is available. This is the advantage of being in webinar. Otherwise, if you would have done physical, it only few people of Delhi would have been there.
Yes.
I think we should continue such webinars also. Few.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
We
thank
should
you very
continue
much, sir.
also.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good night to everybody.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Thank you very much.